after not spilling things.
Welcome
he
back.
He got a little too excited for Team Freedom and Superstars Game 3, which is what we are currently getting ready for.
Standard Dread, ruining Christmas every day. My bad. That's on me. That's on me, guys. But no, so screw it. We're going right to the map. Sky Temple, Team Freedom taking us there. Doesn't stand out as a major selling point for either team. Really, the only map that did was, in fact, Towers of Doom. And so I'm excited. Anything you thinking of?
Boss fights. Cawthon, what about you?
Ooh, boss fights, nice. Well, it's not typically a great map for Nazebo because the game ends super early. I don't think that's going to stop Freedom, though. I think they're just going to keep playing it till the end of time or until they lose. So be interested to see if Superstars has any plans for dealing with that other than just hanging out on the map and waiting for Nazebo to get 20.
Except existing on the opposite side of the battleground.
Superstars, again, not choosing, like exercising restraint, that they still want to get first pick. They still think that they need that over trying to go maybe someplace where Nazebo doesn't matter as much. Granted, though, Freedom took them to Sky.
What that does mean is either, okay, it doesn't mean it absolutely, but it does show in terms of overarching strategy when it comes to a tournament. Any team looking at Superstars, if Superstars reverse sweeps this, every team further would just be like, they have no cheese. This is the game.
Yeah.
Like, there is absolutely no way they don't have cheese. Otherwise, they would have chosen the map, or they got lucky. Or they have a cheese for every single map. That's it. Or they have universal cheese.
Okay, I'm starting to believe in Superstars. That first pick, Uther, lending itself already. Signs of an aggressive comp with a lot of CC, maybe looking to punish an early 1-2 Nazebo on this map that typically doesn't play to Nazebo's strengths.
Do you think that it will be, it maybe says that Superstars wants Malfurion first, or are you thinking more like a global? What is your thought process for what that first pick will now be?
I think they want a lot of CC and burst damage. Malfurion does play into that very well while also not completely revealing the way that they want to play. I think it should be fairly obvious to Freedom if there's an Uther ban and an early Malf pick that they're going to be facing a lot of early pressure. There it is. All right, don't let me down, Superstars. Punish this 1-2 Nazebo.
What if Freedom adjusts right now? They're just like, that's it. We figured it out. That was enough picks, so mix it up. Do you think they have that kind of self-awareness, or it's probably not even worth it? Because, again, if you're winning with it...
Oh.
I will say that Freedom did play Nazebo the last time they were on Sky, but it was last pick. Granted, we have seen a way bigger adjustment into just making sure they have that right out of the gates. But in this instance, making sure that they can get Zeratul, they have taken that as a maybe away from Goku, but also it seems like this is more and more Insomnia's favored.
Flat out, the reason they took Falset in that same rotation was because Insomnia was sick of losing 1v1 matchups somehow into a Falset. So they're like, if we take it... Seriously, did you watch that? Do you even know what happened in those ones? I still don't understand how Falset, not only did he survive, in some cases was flat out winning.
I'd say check out Psalm's Twitter. I bet he's got some... I haven't looked at it myself, but I bet he's probably got some things to say about those Zeratul trades.
Some thoughts.
All right.
If there aren't some there already, put some up there, Psalm. What do you think about those trades on towers?
Got to use the hashtag HGC, though.
Of course.
It's an absolute must. As long as you get that going, we're down and for it. But as the draft has moved on, we've got ourselves the Dahaka and the Greymane here. Very skirmish-oriented. The one thing that does stand out to me, though, meeting into that early game, you know, the damage, the hard lockdown that you wanted after those ban and pick on the supports, Dahaka. He can meet those type of compositions, but he's not that great in it itself, and they have to make sure they get that initiation somewhere else. Because it just, Superstars is not the cleanest at initiating, and I feel like if they leave it all onto, you know, even Goku, no matter how amazing he can be on that hero, it just feels like it might be too little too late.
I agree with you, and something about this draft is leading me to think that Superstars is going to look for a late pick ETC. It would fulfill that condition you mentioned where they have the hard engage. They've already got the good follow-up with Malf. They could play into a global game with a double global with the stage dive as well, which is another good option for matching the global pressure that Freedom has right now. It's just feeling like an ETC from Superstars.
You know, and I think one of the weirder things, or one of the harder things to kind of convey as well, is just some players with have weird trends. Like, for instance, everybody goes through a phase of what hero you play. Like, I mean, there was like a month where we played against you. You only Zagard, it felt like, you know? The one thing for Saray is he had two. Johanna on Tomb of the Spider Queen, ETC with Stage Dive on Sky Temple was like the other overarching philosophy. So like the minute you say that, I was like, it's Saray, it's gonna happen. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at all. You know, just because not only do we, you know, some players in North America have made the argument that, you know, Stage Dive has a lot of merit now, but it meets their comp, it meets the things that maybe they would need. They can match the global, and it's Saray.
Yeah, it's a pretty unusual pick these days. It just feels right for the way the Superstars approach the draft so far.
Just feels right. Always the best strategy when going into a draft.
It's also good because Superstars already have Malfurion too, so there's no fear of stage diving immediately into Roots and just getting blown to oblivion with Twilight Dream and the like. So there's all of these things they can add to that. They can have him bolt in Twilight Dream later on. But again, Karazim is here for Team Freedom. They dabble in playing Karazim here and there, and then Muradin. As you can see, Karazim has not been doing the best in win rate. Ah, yes, I wondered if that would be FaZe Greymane or if Cassia would emerge.
Well,
Cassia.
I am disappointed to be horribly, horribly wrong about the ETC, but at the other hand, I'm excited to see a Cassia. We have not seen that much of her today, and she can be extremely difficult to deal with in the early game.
Conveniently enough, we got about the best person to put on that hero, and that's Faye, who is still undefeated on Cassia. I think it's 4-0. She's just, since she's been allowed, it seems like almost solely playing that hero. And it's really cool to see such a new hero that they're willing to put Faye on when everything matters. You know, this could be their very last game, and she's still, even with only 1 week of being here in the HGC, they're like, nah, give me the Cassia.
Cassia has been sitting at a 50% win rate in NA HGC, but it is so misleading when you look at how many of those wins are from Faye herself. She knocked it out of the park with her Cassia play right from the beginning, and she's sitting at 5.3 kills per game with her at average across those 4 games. This is a potent pick for Superstars.
Kills? Not just kills.
No,
kills.
that's
not
kills.
even takedowns, kills. 5.3.
For Faye, that's good too, because Faye is a very safe passive player usually. Getting that many kills, she changed her personality with Cassia too.
I mean, Cassia is just a monster with their level 1s. You know, we've seen multiple builds out of Faye as well. She's one of the more diverse.
Yes, although she still always has picked Charge Strikes usually, but Charge Strikes was nerfed. Do you think it was a nerf enough that we won't see that?
I think they nerfed the wrong aspect of it. The thing that makes Charge Strikes so great is the AoE, the crazy AoE when you bounce it off any sort of structure. Just nerfing the damage was effectively a non-existent change.
Yeah, the otherwise, Ball Lightning and Valkyrie. Ball Lightning lost some damage and Valkyrie gained some damage. But from there on out, we've seen Faye play either or. Yeah,
we've seen a bit of both in North America. It's almost been near 50-50 between the Ball Lightning and the Valkyrie. But, I'm excited. I'm still more excited than anything that they felt comfortable putting Faye on. I think it says a lot, not only to her confidence on the hero itself, but just the team and their trust in one another. It makes me feel like they haven't, given up, at least not yet.
Cawthon, is this it? Is this the comp that defeats the Nazeebo comp for Team Freedom?
I hope so. I was looking for them to put their faith in Goku in making the hard engages, but I'm even more excited to see Faye, a player I played with for a long time. Basically, they're putting their trust for their playoff lives in Faye, in that hard aggression, in her pushing the advantage early game, and I'm hoping I maybe see a Valkyrie to punish the passive play from Freedom.
Well, let's get into it. Game 3, Superstars playoff lives are on the line. Does the Cassia pick get them this next game? We find out now.
Oh, Superstars here. The positive side, Faye's got the cool new mount. I think it's Celestial.
Celestial Steed.
You know, I rely on you to be able to name mounts even in this game. I think that's a bit too much trust.
Just don't go into the individual skin tents, please.
And you know their names
no,
too?
Soon.
CM.
What do we got on the other side? Dansky again playing Nazeebo. And Nazma's playing his Falstad. He's going to fly into the eye of the storm. So yeah, it is still Charge Strikes for Cassia.
Everybody else, I would like to say we've had a wild level 1 talent picked up here, ladies and gentlemen, but in fact, a report back with at most it could be Malf, and Malf's level 1s all are viable and competitively played. So standard for now.
No scouting drone for the Zeratul to make the Zeratul's life miserable. So instead we'll have to rely on the zoning of the warriors. Things like drag, taunt, those things can make a Zeratul quite miserable in team fights.
The team fights themselves and how those play out, I think, are going to be really interesting. With Kharazim's sustain, with the Zeratul composition having the double squishy, I often talk about, like, you know, Kharazim versus Rhaegar, what type of health pools you like with those, and they definitely have the proper amount. But considering the damage sources, like the Nazebo, the Zeratul, and the Falstad, outside of the Falstad, none of them do too well into the style of draft with the high health pools on the side of Superstars. Like, they don't thrive under those type of conditions, and it does make me concerned for the beginning, for a lot of the way that these team fights are going to play out.
Well, Freedom has shown how good or how well they can play isolation type compositions. We saw it with when they had Zeratul and Medivh. They were very effective at being able to separate out the team. So if they're looking for an ideal target to keep out of Void Prison, to keep away from Gus so that they can take them down, who, in your opinion, is that target for Superstars?
I mean, if Superstars has to lock down any single target that they could whatsoever?
No, if Freedom's game in team fights is to try to separate out Superstars, who is the ideal target for them to try to make sure that they can take out in that time?
It would probably have to go down to pre-13, it would be Malf.
Okay.
Post-13, it's Cassia. And then Greymane would be after the Cassia, just because Cassia has a relatively low health pool. It's lower than Greymane's because of the passive physical armor she gains. They kind of compensated for that. And more vulnerable, less mobility if Greymane's in Worgen form, a lot of disengage there. And Malf's 13 Ice Block. It's the most reliable. Everybody else should be able to survive that type of initiation.
Then we'll have to see if Faye is understanding of that possibility for separating the team when she uses things like Fend to dive into a team fight or to look for a kill when she has Charge Strike active. Speaking of that, Faye and the rest of Superstars sieging here in the bottom with their Giants. Team Freedom starting to funnel in to try to stop. Stormbolt hits.
That's about all. We've got the phase is going to be about a minute out before that second altar phase. With the Night Camp already captured, the Giants are an option for Freedom. It's just Freedom has had some of the best Sky Temple phase 1 to 2 rotations, and they mix it up. So what are they going to do this game? It looks like it's, again, back onto the emphasis towards the bottom lane as they pick up these Giants.
It looked like there was a possibility that Freedom was going to go for a gank. They had Falstad flying in, and Zeratul took over the eye. So now at least Zeratul has set up for that, possibly. We have Greymane and Dahaka hanging out in the top. Greymane can start to cycle down. Potentially try to, I thought he would go for the jungling of this mercenary camp. Yeah, there he goes.
Insomnia's gonna know. He went through the shrub right now. He's got eyes, so it's about waiting for him to fall low. Goku goes in. Nice root follow-up. The drag is there. Superstars got themselves a pick, but the Night Camp fights on as now Nasmus get the flight in. They got the counter pick. Who, at first glance, if this Night Camp is captured by Freedom, oh, it's not gonna. It's just, that's Srey by himself.
Yeah, he'll lose it. So who deals with it?
What I was going to say is, who do you think comes out on top in this trade? And it's definitely Freedom.
Yeah.
It is so awesome when you find yourselves in a position to be able to siege up in that top lane with not only just a camp, but your opponent's camp, and you just got the pick. You know nobody's going to be respecting that lane for a long while. And if it is, it's the wrong target. Conveniently, it was Varian. Absolutely terrible in that 1v1. Has to rotate its way down. Now Falstad has the option. Do I go top, get this fort for free, or do I want to rotate bottom? With how many shots they got on bottom, it should be to siege, but Falstad is not being too offensive.
What's awesome for me is that Freedom saw that there was no way that they were not going to lose that pick in the bottom lane, but Goku had brush-talked in, and so immediately they could try to contest and get that pick. So Freedom took a situation where they were down in it and turned it not only into a trade, but a favorable trade for them, one where they came out on top. Heroic Ability's not here for this fight, but all of the members are. Dahaka continuing to hold on to the point for the final shots.
Still probably a win in the long run for Freedom, just based on the fact that they were able to get away with a lot of those shots, and Falstad was so successful up on top. If anything, a morale victory, and 10 closing in.
I don't think Freedom needs
man.
morale victories by this point. It's quite evident
I
that
mean,
they are doing very well in the morale department.
That's true. You know, only dropping 1 game so far today.
Yeah, and that was the game. That was game 1 versus B-Step.
Yeah, and you know, one thing also to look at, a way to approach, you know, the thought process here of the playoffs that was brought to light to me today was just every team that goes up the ladder farther and farther and farther is just that much more of an upset, because these are, according to the standings, we've had forever to figure out how good are these guys, and now we have placed them accordingly, and now it's can you qualify for this major tournament. And it's just cool to see that every team, you know, if whoever comes out on top of this, is if they can get the win over that, it's another going to be an upset. They're just taking the team one step slightly better than the last. Love the patience.
Yeah, starting to turn this around. It was Ball Lightning picked up for Faye for Heroic Abilities. Superstars are starting to fall behind in experience, but only slightly, and they do have that top fort low in a way that they might be able to. Yeah, this is
scary, scary spot to be. W is going to be used there by Superstars, and that is Saray keeping himself up. Nice Ball of Lightning from Faye, a lot of damage. Twilight Dream ends up connecting onto multiple members, but nobody goes down. Saray kept himself alive, but Greymane ends up falling here for Superstars. Faye had so much rebuttal damage, I thought they might have an opportunity, but again, the lockdown, the isolation.
That zombie wall was ridiculous. Dansky, you are ridiculous. Follow up there from Void Prison. Just low enough to get that Greymane kill. And Superstars couldn't trade that out. Superstars continues to lose just a little bit here and there. It's a fort here, it's a pick there, to where they are now sitting about a level behind Team Freedom. So they need to make sure that they can do everything they can to catch back up before this game snowballs and they can't try to get and contest these temples.
Looks like it's going to be the trade on these shots. Whether or not they wanted to or not. Freedom, I mean, it's moments like this. This is what's so confusing for me in the series. Is the fact that Freedom has any kind of, you know, momentum whatsoever going for them. They have a really solid composition. They've got a stealthy, and it's this downtime where they're down structures and they're trading. They're letting a camp be stolen. You know, there's no reason to give up these objectives other than playing overly safe, and that's a bit of what Cawthon's been talking about as well, is just that Freedom's not making mistakes.
Yeah, they don't take risks.
They are not taking any risks. My biggest, I think not taking risks for day one is awesome.
Right.
Here's my biggest problem, is every team that never take risks sit right about the threshold of Superstars. The gatekeeping he was talking about before all comes down to the teams that not only take the risks, they take the smart ones and they execute on them. And so I just feel like I can respect for Freedom for approaching today with the idea of don't make the mistake that's going to lose the game, because we're better than these teams.
But you hope that that doesn't continue on.
This is where it stops.
If they win.
If Freedom is the team that wins the day and they play like this tomorrow, I'm sure their tournament lives is short-lived. They cannot play this passive.
Superstars is 13. They're at the same level. They're getting their Giants. They see Falstad top. Stray sees the rest of the team.
Collusion, that's a double dash. They're going to look for the combo. Nice Void to buy a bit of time.
Roots on the other side of that. Those will be extinct. We've got a Gust just as soon as the Void is dropped, and all of Freedom disengages. But 2 heroic abilities used. Superstars only used Curse Bullet from that. They still have some possibilities if they can try to find someone out of position, but that just has not been the name of the game for Freedom, Dread.
Superstars, I really want you to stay here and fight over this a bit. You've got an advantage. You've got force another ult, force something. Just don't trade, don't back out, don't play the passive part of the game. Somebody has to force the issue, otherwise the same thing. I would like to say that, you know, I'm not tired of seeing it, but what are we, 5-6 routes deep on this NAS game from Freedom?
Mm-hmm.
Hits a moment where you gotta stop doing the same thing, and this is it. This mid fort, collapsing, flanking on it somewhere. We've got the shrine spawning in 14 seconds.
A single temple, but Superstars have, for the most part, caught up in experience.
There's no void, so this is it. 30-second window to try and force a fight here.
Taunt, follow up, Curse Bullet 2, Roots go down. Avatar has to be used, but the drag is there this time. They almost take down Muradin, but he dwarf tosses away at the last second.
Palm was used as well as an attempt to save Muradin, so a cooldown that won't be available if a fight happens here in the next 45.
Yeah, and Avatar is an even longer cooldown not to have. Team Freedom have to give up the temple, and they are willing to do so, instead just making sure that they can continue to have pressure in the battleground.
Nice root hitting two people. Goku coming in on the back with that burrow. He got the drag, but Twilight Dream was actually interrupted. Goku taking so much damage, excuse me, but he survives. Adaptation used, and he's full HP.
Oh, the whole time Insomnia stole away the shots at the temple!
Nice, Storm Bolt. Zombie wall zoning, that's one. He doesn't even have any more. Sray goes down. I thought he had more W's on reserve,
I think that was
but
the second.
he must have used them before. Now the void is gonna be laid. This is not looking good for Superstars.
No, again, these follow-up zombie walls are obliterating Superstars. Cassia threw out Ball Lightning. They'll make sure to use that to proc the Palm to heal up Collusion. Superstars has 3 members down as they get 16. Team Freedom used that 16 advantage to get the kills needed to take the boss.
They're gonna get the boss. What do they do with it? Do they side to siege? Because this is only 13 minutes into this game, Gilly. That is by no means a game-winning boss. It is hard to say even if that would be a keep for sure. There's got to be a lot of things to work with it. Luckily, they've got not only this giant camp, the minion wave has been pushed out relatively far, and if they can get some work for free up on this front wall here, they're going to be just fine.
Well, it's not like Team Freedom had to use their Gust to even secure that boss. So they still have the Gust should things go sour in the time that Superstars are defending this boss. Make sure to escort this, get the towers down, make the bottom temples that they get later on more effective. Even potential later bosses more effective.
Stormbolt didn't land to set up a pick. Insomnia just more feeling it out there with that singularity spike. 30 seconds before we've got ourselves the next skirmish. Obviously, trading is more beneficial to Freedom than it is for Superstars based on the HP and the experience. They'll have the night camp pushing out. It's just all about who wins the next fight. There is no boss, no throw pit here, Gilly. We're gonna have a more respectable, a gentleman's skirmish to decide who wins this game.
Oh, you never know. Superstar hiding in the bushes, or should I say among them. And they will find Insomnia. Taunt is there. They're going to catch him. Palm connects, and so does a Void Prison. Insomnia has stayed alive. Iacona used Twilight Dream, though, and Goku's still there. Collusion's the next one to be in danger. Everyone has lived from Team Freedom, and Iacona is about to be taken out. Zugrug does it.
He ends up getting the pick, and now Goku following very quickly after. No heroics available for Freedom. Sray, 1, 2, 3, and not even gonna get it. Just down. 3 members dead for Superstars. It's not a game yet, but it's a lot of shots, a lot of structure HP. I mean, it's near a triple keep now off of that one team fight. We're going to take another look at why things went so grim here for Superstars.
The Palm was there, but not even needed because he also had Void Prison. He got out, so everyone turned their focus on Collusion. Got out too.
Sadly, Malfurion cannot escape over those sidewalls, and Iacona is the first sacrifice. Goku not having the adaptation off early enough, thanks to a legendary Void Prison. So
in that time, mid-temple has brought down the mid-keep, first keep of the game. Team Freedom still getting the last of the shots in top.
It will get this keep as well. You know, it's just, like I said, it's near a triple keep. Oh man, Isaac, it's not gonna get it. I'm bad. Report me.
I think it's close enough.
Nope.
So we can.
Nope.
Okay.
See, it's when you say Gilly, that was close enough. Is when you end up making the bad shot call. You can't do that. You got to be hard on yourself. Push yourself.
I'm proud of you
I believe
in this moment.
Thank you.
I'm proud of Team Freedom in this moment. They've been playing out of their minds today to get to this point.
I agree. I think the one thing that I wish they had gone with a different approach, just because they're taking the route I would have taken, but it doesn't necessarily give them the credit that they maybe deserve to be in this position. It just looks more of a patient look at Superstars slowly lose this game, but it is more of a, how I like to put it, boa constrictor-esque, where it is more putting them into consistent lose-lose situations that eventually further and further the advantage of Freedom. Look at this. Even they're getting a pickup on bottom while Zeratil's backdooring to keep up on top. Goku survived.
He used his tunneling claws, and now he's in the back. Everyone's trying to focus their attention on him. But Zelgrug did the same thing versus Superstars. Superstars feeling the pressure in this moment. They are down 20. Insomnia gets a 3-man Void Prison. Stray is all but destroyed in this fight.
He survives. Iacona stuck into the zombie wall. Beautiful ice block, actually eating the damage from Singularity Spike as well, so not vulnerable to the burst of Zeratil. At least not in that rotation. The keep ends up falling. 20 advantage, nowhere to be found. And to add Salt, 2 shrines. 1 shrine itself, this is one thing I've never known for sure, but I'm pretty confident it does not 100-0 the core at this point of the game. But it will do, I mean, it's like so low. It's so low that it would be game.
Team Freedom have put Superstars in almost an unwinnable position. Superstars' next few moments have to be played out perfectly. They see that one person is down in the shrine, they head down there, but still the temple is being held in the mid too. Dahaka's trying to stop that, but Zeratul is over on the core too. It's falling, it's at 85%.
Zeratil's just wailing away while Falstad, after he feigned the back up on bottom, starts the shots more. Ticking is the core HP, and this is it. 3-0, clean sweep. Freedom just one step further into the playoffs.
Team Freedom started out today in the 6th seed position in North America. They have taken out B-Step, only losing 1 game to them. Now they take down Superstars 3-0 to boot. Tomorrow they have to go up against Team 8 though. That's a whole different bear of an opponent. Cawthon, what did you think of that last game?
I think it was the same game that we just watched with slightly different skins and heroes.
I love you sometimes. When you say things very, I don't, it's very me, but it's not just, but it's just, you know, there was skins and heroes. It's just too good. We need you around more is what I'm saying.
I agree.
They got to level 17, 18, same story as the other 2 games, 1 kill. They did try to force, I think I was in the other room grumbling, like they have 1 kill, do something, and then they got that big engage, but then the VP and the counter engage turned it around. At least they tried. Like, I'll give it to them. They did force when they needed to force. Before the Nazebo got 20, they just weren't able to win that fight. And the game went the same way all the other games have gone. Freedom has just proven to be, at least to these mid-tier teams, unstoppable in their safe, passive map control play.
Yeah, they did not make the kinds of mistakes that teams felt like they could ever punish, whether it was just that they weren't in a position to punish or what it was. But Team Freedom had solo laners who were being safe. They made sure that they had some sort of disengage for their team fights too. Everything worked out for Team Freedom today.
It did. It did. And whether or not it does tomorrow is a bigger question, a tougher one. But it was where they put their focus, right? We knew that Freedom was like, these first 2 should be easy. We're feeling confident. We're more worried about Team 8. And so I am happy that at least they set their focus to a reasonable goal, and they've obviously been able to achieve it so far, but I really do feel like tomorrow is the trial by fire.
Well, let's talk to somebody who is getting a well-deserved break, well-deserved drink of water after that 3-0 victory. Insomnia, what the heck? Where did this come from?
You know, we're staying focused and we wanted to play our games, and it's definitely not over, but we're coming to play, so we're having a lot of fun, and today was definitely no joke, so it was fun.
Did you guys feel like you guys were just unable to make mistakes. That was one thing that we really highlighted for you, was that you guys were making sure not to make any punishable mistakes for the rest of the teams that you played.
Well, honestly, our ultimate goal was to play safe but not over aggressive, and we wanted to make sure we, stuck to our game and everything like that. So ultimately, playing safe wins games, even though it's boring. So we just wanted to make sure we closed out games instead of making as many mistakes as possible. Woo! That was my dad.
Woo!
I'm in the wrong house, man. I messed up. I want to be in Team Freedom House when they win. No, so the main thing for me is going to be, obviously, you even admitted to the safe play, the slow play of today. My biggest concern is just got to be, personally, don't feel like that is going to be working tomorrow. So what do you guys do? How do you find that line of the perfect level of balance of what reserved today, but then turning it on when you need to, maybe tomorrow?
Ultimately, I feel like going against Team 8, honestly, they probably have one of the best macro plays, so we've been working a lot on that. We know their play style, and we have also some drafts in stock for them. So we've done most of our preparing for Team 8, so honestly, I feel the most prepared for the set tomorrow, and today was kind of our speed bump, and then tomorrow, I don't want to say it's the easier of the two, but we prepared the most for it, so.
Awesome, thanks.
Cawthon?
Shout out to your dad, dude. I remember hearing him in the background in like 2015 when we played against your team, like Tyrannosaurus Rex or something, way back in the day.
Oh my god!
So first off, I've got to commend your guys' mentality going into this playoff weekend. The fact that you focused upon one of the top teams, assuming that if we're going to have a chance of making it through this playoffs, we need to beat the top teams, and if we don't play well enough just playing our own standard game against the mid-tier teams, then we're not going to make it through anyway. Exactly. So you have the right mentality there. It doesn't matter if you get 4th compared to 6th. There's no benefit to that. You got to get all the way up to 2nd. And seeing as you guys have prepared for the big team coming up tomorrow, you had the right attitude going into it.
Thank you very much.
Well, Insomnia, any thoughts, any change-ups you can let us know for tomorrow versus Team 8, or you got to keep everything under wraps?
I'm not going to let anything slip out here, so you guys are going to have to watch.
All right. Well, we will be. Don't worry. Congratulations, Insomnia. It's awesome to see you guys make it to tomorrow. We'll let you give shout-outs before you go celebrate with your dad/team, both of them.
Shout out to everyone on Team Freedom, my boys. Shout out to all our fans, guys. Thank you for supporting us. And if you guys like